In the United States Congress, we are swiftly advancing the bipartisan Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act.
And I'd like to speak directly to the people of Hong Kong. America stands with you, and America will always support you.
Democrats and Republicans in Congress are on the same side, the side of the people of Hong Kong.
This year, 4 times. And it has been blocked. It's been blocked by certain interests who don't want this to go forward. But now,
Congress never walk alone, and we will continue our uphill battle.
Everyone have been standing in the streets together as one. So I want to thank the Congress for giving the support.
We cannot let commercial interest drive our policy.
9月18号，黄之锋等人在美国首都华盛顿 DC 与国会众议院议长佩洛西见面。他们还在一起召开了新闻发布会。那这场新闻会象征意义和实际意义都很强。象征意义呢，是代表美国国会对香港问题的重视程度。佩洛西是民主党籍的美国众议院议长，这是美国总统的第2个顺位继承人，美国政界的第3号人物。他亲自接见了被中共和港府痛恨的香港民主活动人士，还表达了强力的支持。这对中共和港府来说是重重的一拳打在脸上。那实际意义呢？是这场新闻会呢，对计划下周就要进入表决程序的香港人权与民主法案是一个推动。那向外界表明呢，美国两党真的是在香港问题上团结在一起，北京会因此感受到压力。那今后呢，要考虑是否进一步收敛在香港的所作所为。特别是法案一旦通过，势必对参与破坏香港法治民主的官员是一种威慑。而且值得注意的是，在今天的新闻会上，提出香港人权与民主法案的共和党籍新泽西联邦众议员克里斯·史密斯已经明确指出，法案制裁的对象既包括香港，也包括大陆的官员。至于香港人权与民主法案本身，我们在9月8号的新闻拍案惊奇节目给大家已经详细介绍过，那大家可以去看那期节目，就能弄清这个法案的概况。因为今天这场佩洛西与香港人在一起的新闻发布会很重要，所以我们从这场20多分钟的会议里挑选了10分钟的精华内容，给大家翻译出来，并且加上了中文字幕，方便您观看。虽然从20多分钟精缩到10分钟，但是实质的讲话内容大多保留，删去的基本上是问候啊、寒暄啊、表决心啊等等。那这些呢就都免了，大家也都知道，美国人是很会客气的。
This morning is a very special one. We are here to welcome to the Capitol some very brave champions for democracy, for freedom of expression in Hong Kong. For 15 weeks, the protesters in Hong Kong have sent a stirring message to the rest of the world about the dreams of freedom and justice can never be extinguished by injustice and intimidation. In the United States Congress, we are swiftly advancing the bipartisan Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, which reaffirms a commitment to democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in the face of Beijing's crackdown. We will bring this bill to the floor as soon as possible.
Today we stand here not as Republicans or Democrats, but as Americans united in our strong support for Hong Kong. And I'd like to speak directly to the people of Hong Kong. America stands with you, and America will always support you. We hear you sing our national anthem. We see you carrying our American flag. This is a battle between democracy versus dictatorship, liberty versus tyranny, and freedom versus oppression. We all stand here today as Americans united with freedom-loving peoples in Hong Kong as the Chinese Communist Party continues to commit human rights violations. So next week, we will move this bill forward. We will show China there will be consequences to their ruthless and brutal actions.
I'm honored to be here with these incredibly brave activists who are standing up to intimidation and persevering in the pursuit of justice. They're doing so at great personal risk to their safety, and they deserve our unwavering support and admiration. And that's why I'm proud that we will be advancing the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. We hope to have it in the Foreign Affairs Committee next week. This act sends a strong message to Beijing that today, in 2019, 30 years after the massacre in Tiananmen Square, Chinese authorities will not get away with using violence and intimidation to squash the fundamental freedoms, freedom of speech, of assembly, of demonstration, that are guaranteed by law to the people of Hong Kong. It also sends the message that Beijing's attempt to undermine Hong Kong's autonomy is not just a problem for the people of Hong Kong, it's a concern of the United States as well. Now, let me say in conclusion, when it comes to Hong Kong, as you just heard from Mr. McCaul, Democrats and Republicans in Congress are on the same side, the side of the people of Hong Kong, the side of democracy and human rights. And we're not going to ever be on the wrong side. And we'll always be standing with the brave people of Hong Kong. Thank you.
It's my honor and pleasure to be invited, and I strongly recognize today is the remarkable day to show how the new bipartisan consensus on China foreign policy, under the uprising China model and the hardline suppression of President Xi to Hong Kong, Hong Kongers never walk alone in the front line to confront hardline dictatorship. In such uphill battle, we might be downhearted or depressed. But in the past 3 months, in such summer of discontent, we strongly realize people in the free world strongly support Hong Kong people continue our fight. Today is the remarkable day also emphasize how the efforts of Hong Kongers in the past 3 months is not only included inside Hong Kong, but also overseas Hong Kongers, no matter Anna, Jeffrey, and Brian based in the United States, and others of our friends live all around the world to show that we stand as one, we stand in solidarity. Hong Kongers never walk alone, and we will continue our uphill battle until the day we enjoy freedom and democracy.
Since 1989, since the Tiananmen Square massacre 30 years ago, I've had the privilege of working in a bipartisan way with Speaker Pelosi on human rights, the rule of law, and democracy for the people of China. We have always believed that every person in China deserves better, and we have always understood that solemn promises made by Beijing were seldom kept, and that far too many leaders of the free world were far too eager to blindly accept fiction over fact. Under President Xi Jinping, human rights abuse throughout China, including pervasive use of torture, religious persecution, and human trafficking, have significantly worsened. That 2 million people turned out for one of the protests. That's 1/4 of the entire population of Hong Kong, 2 million people, and of course hundreds of thousands as well, and others. 5 years ago in 2014, joined by Speaker Pelosi, I introduced the bipartisan Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. We did it again in 2015, we did it again in 2017, and again this year, 4 times. And it has been blocked. It's been blocked by certain interests who don't want this to go forward, but now with the Speaker's leadership, it will get a vote up or down, and I believe it will prevail significantly. And briefly, some of the things that it'll do, it directs the Secretary of State to certify to Congress annually whether Hong Kong continues to deserve special treatment under U.S. law. And that is a very big issue. Directs the State Department not, I say again, not to deny entry visas based on the applicant's arrest or detention for participating in nonviolent protest activities in Hong Kong. Has not happened. We want to make sure it doesn't happen. Requires an annual report from the Commerce Department on whether the Hong Kong government adequately enforces U.S. export controls and sanctions laws. It directs the Secretary of State to submit a strategy to protect Americans and American businesses in Hong Kong, and requires the President to identify and sanction persons, including the use of the Magnitsky Act in Hong Kong and in mainland China, responsible for human rights abuses. I've heard it said, and I'll finish with this, that the business of Hong Kong is often said it's business. I think it's absolutely clear that the business of Hong Kong is freedom.
It's my honor to be here to witness this extraordinary and incredible moment that is being dedicated to the freedom fighter in Hong Kong. For Hong Kong, autonomy, democracy, and rule of law has always been our core values, and I believe that by the introduction and passage of the bill, it will usher into another new era of US-Hong Kong relationship that we both preserving this value and make it into our priority into the long fight of our journey. We witnessed a huge crackdown of our rule of law system with more than 1,500 of people arrested in the recent protests, with the youngest age at age 12. And we witnessed excessive force used by the police force and our fellow protesters. They have to face rubber bullets and some other lethal weapons on a daily basis. And the police force has no checks and balances, and they could do whatever they want.
Over the last 100 days, we have seen a popular and grassroots movement from all walks of life. Young people, students, women, seniors, entrepreneurs, teachers, civil servants, workers. This is an unprecedented and sustained show of unity. This is a movement unlike the world has ever seen in size, scope, creativity, and effectiveness. The protesters are educated, savvy, mobilized, and executing a strategy. They are using technology to mobilize, stay anonymous, and organize protests. They are respectful, and they have been apologizing to bystanders who have been inconvenienced. They are picking up garbage and recycling. They are using art, music, laser pointers, and the projection of messages on buildings to highlight their struggle. And overall, the protests have largely been peaceful, despite being subject to violence and lack of restraint on the part of the Hong Kong authorities. So we support very strongly the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act that Chris Smith has introduced. But we also support another bill that Chris Smith and I introduced, and we hope we can bring it to the floor as well, called the Protect Hong Kong Act, to prohibit the sale of police equipment to Hong Kong. U.S. companies should not be complicit in a crackdown on pro-democracy protesters.
Hello everyone, I am a singer and pro-democracy activist from Hong Kong. At this very difficult but also very empowering time in Hong Kong, where this millions of people in Hong Kong in widespread participation from all walks of life, it is not only the young people but really everyone who believes in these universal values and who want to protect our city from the erosion of our democracy. Everyone have been standing in the streets together as one. So I want to thank the Congress for giving the support, because this is a message to these Hong Kong people that we are not isolated in this fight. We are in the forefront of this very global fight for universal values. So thank you so much, and we are in solidarity.
The withdrawal of the extradition bill was the success that you had. It's welcome news, but as we all know, it's not enough. Much more must be done to fully realize the legitimate aspirations of the Hong Kong people in the guaranteed order of one country, two systems. The pro-Beijing leadership in Hong Kong must ensure a political system accountable to the people, including guaranteed universal suffrage, as has been mentioned, and investigating police violence. I've said over and over under many circumstances that we cannot let commercial interest drive our policy. If we do not speak up because of commercial interest in support of human rights in China, we lose all moral authority to speak up for them any other place in the world.
好，感谢您收看我们今天的节目。如果您喜欢呢，欢迎您订阅、按赞和留言。您也可以点击小铃铛图案，可以第一时间收到我们新节目上传的通知。那我们下期节目再见了。